Hello everyone, and you're very welcome to our channel Narc Con today in the summer of 2025. How to get rid of a narcissist and expand your horizons. This is where we're at today, my friends. We're going to go through the best and safest techniques to get rid of a narcissist and their narcissistic sucking energy from you out of your life, and to make your life better going forward. So what's not to like? Okay, so in relation to manufacturing energy, and I'm going to go through different points and different techniques in a minute. We know, or will know after the podcast, narcissists manufacture energy by sucking your energy. So literally, they don't like to have to do anything for themselves. They've learned a technique in life that they learned as a young child to present a fake persona and target people who it would be possible, not necessarily easy. Easy is good, but possible to control in order to convince the other person that it was beneficial for the other person to serve them in life. In other words, to subjugate their life for the narcissist. Now, this isn't an immediate process. This is a process where the narcissist works on their prey or their target psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, hoping to get them into a position where the person is trapped, and provides energetic output in the form of narcissistic supply, emotional output, validation of the narcissist's fake mask, services, money, and whatever else the narcissist needs that the narcissist doesn't have to work for themselves, that they feel entitled to. They feel entitled for other people to serve them because they have created a false superiority, a godlike presence as their way of navigating life. So the first thing I would say, as I kind of usually will go at the problem, is to go to the cause and use cause and effect in relation to providing solutions to the problem. So if you have a narcissist in your life that you're not either prepared or in a situation to walk away from, to go total no contact from, and this can be that they're a family member and you're still involved in the family, or you have children with them or a business with them, or for whatever reason you would like to withdraw or get the narcissist to withdraw, which would be preferable, from you and have less to do with them so that they can suck less energy from you and you can concentrate more on enhancing your own life using the energy that you have created for yourself from your beautiful life. The first thing to do is to identify what is that narcissist getting from you. Because besides narcissistic supply, narcissists usually have a main core agenda as to why they stick around somebody. So this could be like a friend narcissist. It could be someone you work with, or worst case scenario, a family member narcissist who you're very involved with, or an intimate partner. So I'm betting bottom dollar here, or top dollar, that narcissist has you targeted for something they want from you and they're getting at the moment from you. That could be a house. It could be your services if they're a hypochondriac and pretend to be sick a lot of the time. Whatever service they're needing from you in a work situation where they're copying your work, or they're getting you to do tasks above and beyond your job title. So you will know at core level what they're after from you. If you possibly can, I would work on withdrawing the core service that the narcissist, or the core agenda the narcissist has in attaching themselves to you in a leech-like way, where they're sucking whatever they want from you and all other residual energy from you in relation to emotional output, dramas they create, your reaction to them in believing that they are the mask they present. So, number one, identify what the narcissist is after and work on withdrawing that particular thing from them. Now, that may involve legal services. So when you set your mind, if hopefully after this podcast, or maybe you're in the process of doing it, or maybe you're thinking about doing it, maybe you're thinking, I can't take this anymore. I'm at collapse point. I'm at adrenal fatigue. Go legal. Go and get the legal advice as to what steps you need to take to extricate yourself from this person if they're attached to you in any kind of legal way. That's the fairly obvious, but when we're in the fog that the narcissist creates, it's sometimes difficult to know where to start. And again, actually mentioning fog, the narcissist will often have people trapped in the what they call fog, fear, obligation, and guilt prison. So you're afraid of the narcissist, or you feel obligated to provide a service, like they're a family member, they're an elderly family member. You have a duty, you feel a duty or responsibility towards the person that they will enhance, they will keep pushing as an agenda to make you put out, or you'll feel guilty because they'll be playing the victim card and saying they can't cope without you, and that they may do the most awful deed if you don't continue to help them. So, you know, if you were thinking about fairness and you're thinking about, does the person love you? A person that loves you doesn't play fog on you. Just saying that for what it's worth. Okay, so that's the first port of call. Now, it may be that your narcissist that you want to get rid of is a friend and they have no legal attachment to you whatsoever. And that's great because it's easier to extract yourself. But I'm trying to deal with all levels of entrapment here in relation to a narcissist and getting rid of them, and then being able to expand your horizons. Because anytime you try and expand your horizons where there's a narcissist involved, they want a piece of the action. Okay, so identify what they want and withdraw. When they start to ask you questions, like in the negative sense, or their information gathering, it's a form of biting in on you, like continuing to attach themselves to you as if they have an entitlement to your life. They will ask you inappropriate questions, or they'll ask you kind of accusatory questions like, you know, why would you keep doing something so stupid? They ask you questions as if they have an ownership of you or an entitlement to do that. So what I would suggest when they use that technique on you to keep you attached is to answer a question with a question. That will frustrate the hell out of them. And that's what we need to do, obviously, on a safe level. But we need to be giving to close down our energy gates on them. So when they ask you a question, instead of you kind of getting stressed and rooting around for an answer, or feeling defensive about the tone of the question they asked you, or the fact that they don't have the right to ask you that question, it's inappropriate, you can say, why would you ask me such a thing? So then they come back with another, well, the reason I'm asking this, you know, say, do you think that's a valid reason? So this is the way we're going to go. The narcissist tries to take you down a rabbit hole. You go down the rabbit hole with them, have a little nibble on the carrot, ask them all the questions, and shoot right back up out of that rabbit hole. This is going to exhaust the narcissist, not you. The narcissist wants easy control. The narcissist wants easy and entitled access to you, their target, their prey, their victim. We're going to change the narrative on the narcissist, and it's about time. And having said that, just as an aside, there's quite a few not so nice comments coming on the channel. And when they come, I begin to go, keep going, because spiritually it's working. So you keep going too. And together we're going to fight this prevailing entitlement that's out there to use and destroy other people, basically. Okay, the next technique is one that I'd say most of us are familiar with. It's very hard to do, but it is effective. However, it does alert the narcissist to the fact that you're on to them. So it is giving a signal that things are changing, and they will. It's grey rock, by the way, and I'll just explain it for anyone that doesn't know. It will stimulate the narcissist to try using a different manipulation technique on you, because obviously their techniques have got you, they're flying too many red flags, and you've realized what you're dealing with, and they know that you're onto them to a certain extent, but they'll be doing testing manipulation techniques to try and reel you back in, to disabuse you of the notion that they're a narcissist, or to basically gaslight your reality in thinking that it's something wrong with the narcissist, and they'll focus back on there being something wrong with you. So grey rock is actually where you try to withdraw any emotional response, reaction, or wording in your answer that lets the narcissist know they've upset you or that they've had an effect on you in any way. Because the narcissist reads their control radar, like you'd read like a sonar on you by your emotional reaction to them. That's how they know how much or little under control you are. Your emotional response tells them everything, because they control people via emotions in the main. They use emotional control over people to have overall control. So that's their main focus. So if you are dimming down the response on that by not reacting emotionally, by being very boring, by being as boring as a grey rock, saying yes, no other information in your responses, they come to you and say, what's all this yes, no business? You say, I don't quite understand what you mean. I will endeavour to give you a longer answer if that is what you require. That kind of thing. It's you're not going to go, oh, I'm sorry. Nothing. Grey rock. You respond as if you're a solid rock and computer-like in responses, basically. They won't like that. That will destabilize them. So again, watch out if you're with a narcissist who is particularly volatile. You're better to fake pretend an answer while internally not reacting emotionally. It's quite nuanced, this getting rid of a narcissist. There's a lot of different situations, but this is generalized material for using with a narcissist who is not an immediate threat, put it like that you're in a safe enough environment and position. Okay, number 5. This is particularly effective with a friend or a work colleague or even a family member. If you ask them to do things for you or give you things that do not involve their participation, this is important. So the narcissist will be asking you for your services, for your help, for your advice, for your presence, all of these things, for your time, for your energy, for your life. So if you have been and are the type of person that likes to give, likes to help, tries to make themselves generally available and is not familiar with the term or the word no. If you then become less available, use the word no more often that you can't, without explaining why you can't, And if you then turn that around on the narcissist and ask them to give you something or to do something for you that doesn't involve them. So here's the crux. If you ask them to do something for you, like that would be, say, ring a company or make a recommendation to somebody for you, or to do you a favor that they have to do as a task not related to involving you and them in an interaction. So you have to, this is nuanced again, you'll have to pick something that's not going to involve them directly, because if you ask them to do something like a favor for you, they will make it as laborious as possible. They will come back to you with lots of questions. They will come back to you with problems as to why they can't do it, and they'll feed off the situation. So they also practice, particularly friend narcissists in inverted commas, if they know you want something from them, they often practice withholding as a form of control, so that you'll have to keep asking them for that favor. However, the asking and the more pushback to the narcissist, where you say, no, I can't do that for you, and you ask them to do more things for you, will be an unattractive interaction for the narcissist. Number 6. This is, again, a particularly effective technique if you have what I would call, say, a monopolizing family member or a partner or a friend or a colleague or whatever that loves to monopolize your time with their stories. Things they want to say, never ask you about yourself or how are you doing. Or you might get a perfunctory, how are you? And you say, well, I'm great. And, so-and-so. And they go, oh, right, that's great. Well, I wanted to tell you about, and they go on talking about themselves. They have no interest in you whatsoever, other than your output of narcissistic supply in relation to what's going on in their lives. So in this instance, if you can turn it around and start to talk about yourself without giving any pertinent information, but just become the monologue that they are, they will want to go. They will, first of all, try and regain control of the conversation, but they'll make up excuses and say they have to go to the store or whatever they have to do. This is an unattractive interaction for a narcissist that usually monopolizes you and your time. You start to do the exact same to them and see them scurry out that door as quick as their little legs can carry them. Number 7 of how to get rid of a narcissist and have the energy to expand your own horizons without a sucker attached to you. Ask them to pray with you. Now, you will get the holy rollers that will agree with this. And I'm talking about the darker variety of narcissist. Ask them to pray with you. Ask them to bless themselves. Ask them to take some holy water. Ask them to take a holy symbol. Do whatever you think is appropriate in relation to your spirituality and particular religion. If they're not a holy roller or very falsely committed to the religion, this will not appeal to them. Number 8, see them only on a one-to-one basis. And this applies, I suppose, more to a friend or a partner who's gaining social status from you or your contacts in a work situation. So usually a narcissist will use you, if they're one of those narcissists, or that's their core agenda with you. Usually a narcissist will use you as a conduit to other forms and sources of narcissistic supply, or use your character traits as them being attached to you reflects well on them as an in to some type of organization or society. Then they'll get into that organization and society and ostracize you from it. That is that type of narcissist's modus operandi. Well, any type of narcissist will use that if that's what they want. So on a one-to-one basis, you become less useful to a narcissist if that's their main agenda with you. You will not see them as often. That would be totally against what they would want you for. It would be interesting then for them to start asking you, can we see so-and-so, or can we go to that event? And of course, you're not available for that event, or you're going on your own, or whatever. So it'll also really tell you who the person is. If they drop you after that, it's so much more confirmation that they're a narcissist. So these are all techniques that further validate the situation for you if you're dealing with a narcissist. Okay, number 9. I think I have 10 techniques written down here. There are many, and particularly in individualized coaching, the whole subject is nuanced. You know, what works for one doesn't necessarily work as well for another. But I have no doubt that in one of these techniques will work in one of your individual situations. But again, if you want coaching, it's narcscon@gmail.com for coaching inquiries for an individual and customized situation. And I'm going to tell you on number 10, a particular instant that I've heard of that you can, reflect well on and use in a legal situation. So number 9, ask them how they got stuck in life. In other words, if you have a midlife narcissist that isn't doing too well, now they may very well be the victim narcissist, but if they are the victim narcissist, this will also work. Ask them how they got stuck in life, like what stopped them from progressing. In other words, you're giving them attention, but you're invalidating them to a certain extent. When you ask the next question, if they're the victim style narcissist, they'll start to, as always, blame shift other people or the world or the economy for the situation they find themselves in life. And again, people that have had a lot of knocks in life and find themselves in a position that they never thought they'd be in does not make you a narcissist. So please, I have to put that in. Don't just think because you haven't done well in life that you must be a narcissist. Absolutely no way. But if you have looked at this person and they're presenting all the other attributes of being a narcissist, and they, you've gone to the DSM, they have 5 of the, I think 9 or 10 or whatever traits they say a person must have to probably fall into the narcissistic personality disorder category. And again, we can't diagnose anybody, but we need some guidance when we're dealing with these difficult personality types. If you then ask them, if they say, oh, this was to blame and that was to blame, and what part did you have to play in all of that? Like, ask them to be accountable for their victim status. That's just not a nice place. It's not a nice place for anybody to be. But for a narcissist, you're kind of going, so you say it's everybody else's fault, but what did you do in the situation? That's a big no-no for a narcissist. To be held accountable is a very unattractive position for a narcissist to be in, and they will not like being around you if you try and continually hold them accountable. So number 10, ask for proof of everything that they say to you when you suspect they're a narcissist. Again, it's threatening their sense of control because it's like holding them accountable. It's saying, I kind of don't believe you. So where is the proof of what you're saying? That's very unattractive. Now, what they often will come back with, and this leads me to the circumstance that I hope will help you fight if you find yourself in a position like this. They'll throw that back on you and say, they'll say a plethora of things like, you don't love me, you don't trust me. You said, dead right, mate, I don't. All of these things will come back, but one that will come back particularly because they project it, you're paranoid. You're paranoid. And that leads me into the explanation or the instance that has come up recently, and I'm not breaking any confidentiality, but this can happen. So there was a particular circumstance that there was a couple and the children were taken away from the couple briefly. Now, the father was diagnosed with a personality disorder, part of which was narcissism. The mother, in trying to protect the children, they both had psychological assessments, as paranoid. As I said to the person in relation to fighting the case, paranoid is a healthy reaction to a narcissistic personality disordered person. It would be what would present as a parent in a protective role with vulnerable children. Paranoid is a good position to be in with a narcissist because it shows that you know that they are not, that they're out for destruction, that the children need protection in relation to that personality disorder. If, as a mother or father, you've seen the other parent abusing the children. So that's something that the legal system hasn't actually recognised and needs to be delved into further, in my opinion, with psychologists coming and saying, well, actually, that other parent has showed a healthy defence mechanism towards the other parent. And that is not actually a mental health issue. It is the appropriate and correct reaction in relation to trying to protect your children against somebody who has displayed threatening behaviour towards them. So what I would say to you in relation to expanding your own horizons, a lot of the time we tend to stay stuck in the familiar. And we tend to say that we have a difficult person in our lives and it's just the way they are. And we're bigger than that and we're better than that and we can put up with this. And it's the Christian thing to do or the moral thing to do or whatever religion you're from. That's what we practice. We practice humility. We practice patience. We practice love. Well, I would say to you that I agree with that, but we must first of all practice patience, humility and love with ourselves before we, contribute, before we throw our lives on the floor for someone else to trample over, so that we're not living a productive life or the life that we were born to live. So I think discernment and pulling back and being patient appropriately and loving appropriately and not subjugating our own lives and our own purpose for somebody who demands that we do. And I would say whatever level you would like, if you would like to get rid of the narcissist fully, you want to go no contact eventually, that's a decision that we must individually make. But in order for the narcissist to be less interested in you or invested in sucking your energy, for you to actually go out and have the freedom to live the life you were born to live and make energy for yourself that you can keep for yourself, that you can use to do good in the world, as opposed to having that energy sucked out by a destructive force that is only utilising it in non-productive survival or even destructive ways with other people. Guys, I hope that was helpful. You can do whatever you want to do in your life. You have the power within you to change your life totally. Don't fall under the fog of the narcissist where you're afraid to do it because it's different. You're afraid of the repercussions from the narcissist. You can do this safely. where you feel obliged, where the narcissist has worked on your guilt and obligation feelings or duty feelings in whatever circumstance you're in. You have a duty to yourself to live the life you were born to live. And you have a much better ability to be able to love and give to other people if you're a power force spiritually yourself. And that's it for now. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.